Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, you're very welcome. This is Reading the Past and I'm Dr. Cat. Today's video is a much requested one on the channel. You've been asking me to review Six the Musical for quite some time. And live theatre has been back on for a little while now. A lovely pal of mine suggested that we take a trip to see Six the Musical. Straight out of the gate, I had a lovely time and I really enjoyed the show. I've got lots of the songs stuck in my head. So with that being said, I feel like I probably need to offer a small caveat about my review, or more specifically, how objective I will be able to be, because it was really very exciting to be back in the theatre. As always, I will be doing my best to balance my giddiness in the name of providing you with a balanced review. Now, if you haven't seen the show, are planning to do so, and you don't want any spoilers, this might not be the video for you. Fear not, because there's lots of other videos on this channel for you to enjoy until you've had a chance to see the musical. Otherwise, let's discuss Six. Six began its performance life at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in 2017, where it was staged by Cambridge University Musical Theatre Society. It soon found a home in the West End and on various international professional stages. The show's aims, if you will, are presented at the front of the programme, in a segment written by the creators Toby Marlow and Lucy Moss. They explain that back in 2017 they created a 6-point plan. Lol, at 6-point plan. It goes as follows. 1. We want to provide a different perspective on the six queens separate from their status as wives. 2. We will give female historical figures a voice to tell their own experiences. Experiences that have, in the past, predominantly been told by men. 3. We aim to show that even 500 years later, there are still parallels to be found in the female experience. 4. We will show that women can tell stories together that are interesting, engaging, clever and funny. Stories told by women do not have to be about or include men in order to be entertaining. 5. We plan to use the pop concert genre to enable this fun, silly, comic and powerful story to be told exclusively by women, but not just for women, and in order to facilitate our third aim. 6. All of the above needs to be done whilst above all acknowledging the silliness and campness of its own genre, and being self-aware of its own message. It should never be too earnest or too sincere. A few lines before they share this plan, the creators state, quote, "Looking back on it now, it seems utterly absurd that two people who had never written anything before, let alone an entire musical, came up with a document as unbelievably grand and self-righteous as this. Honestly, who did we think we were?" We definitely fell short of our aims in some ways. For instance, it's still very much up for debate whether or not the show actually passes the Bechdel test. Oops. And in other ways, these aims feel very much like a relic of our own individual journeys, discovering the discourse surrounding gender. A snapshot of a very specific moment in our lives in early 2017. Indeed, if we were to write this kind of document now, they mean the 6-point plan, we are sure the outcome would be considerably different, or at least less terrifyingly binary. Regarding the Bechdel test debate with the show, clearly Six has more than 2 women in it, and they do talk to each other. So I think the question is probably whether those conversations are about a man or not. I think the conversation topic returning to a man is always going to be a potential pitfall that comes with the show's opening premise. Namely, that it is a contest to choose a band's lead singer based upon who had the most traumatic experience as a wife of Henry VIII. Naturally, our boy is going to come up more than once. So, technically, the show probably doesn't pass the test on those terms. Side note, I think the Bechdel test is missing a layer, because for me the test should include there being a strong woman or some strong women present in the piece, but that we don't see their strength being explained by trauma that's usually caused by a man or men, which is then shown in a gratuitous flashback scene of unpleasant exposition. I mean, just let her be spectacular because she just is. We don't require a trauma backstory for almost all the male characters or superheroes we have, except, of course, for Batman. But he doesn't count as a superhero because money isn't a superpower. Apologies, that went a little off topic. Back to 6. When it comes to the aesthetic of the show, in both stage and costume design, it's clearly tied to the theme of the pop concert that these queens are competing to be the lead singer at, while at the same time hinting towards the designs of the past. There are puffed sleeves, square necklines, high necklines, bodices coming to a point, some with tab decoration. There are decorative headpieces and detailed decoration on the fabric of the dresses that make them catch the light, as if they were made of cloth of gold or silver. They also would not look out of place being worn on the stage by a contemporary pop group. I think what's been done here is really clever. It's very hard to precisely place these costume elements to a decade or an era, and I think this timelessness works brilliantly. To have them in either full period dress or something that makes no reference to the clothing of the past would, as far as I'm concerned, have been very jarring. It needed to be something that rode that line between modern and historic, because the stories of these 16th century women are being recounted through song in the first person. Each queen's musical style is inspired by a contemporary artist. So, per the programme, Katherine of Aragon's Queenspiration is Beyoncé and Shakira. Anne Boleyn gets Lily Allen and Avril Lavigne. Jane Seymour has Adele and Sia. Anne of Cleves gets Nicki Minaj and Rihanna. Katherine Howard has Ariana Grande and Britney Spears. And Catherine Parr gets Alicia Keys and Emily Sandé. With all this in mind, I did find it a little odd that ruffs were both talked about in the show and worn during the House of Holbein number. Now granted, the added ruffs, when they were worn, were paired with neon sunglasses to match the neon edging on the ruffs. Nevertheless, the ruffs haven't really been modernised here, as they have been in the case of this musician's costume. Instead, they stand out as the pieces of costume that are most overtly from an historical period within the show. My issue, as a massive costume pedant, is that the ruff is from the wrong period, as it's a fashion of the mid-16th century and beyond. I mean, we've all seen the portraits of Elizabeth I and her courtiers looking like a group of snakes that have swallowed a dinner plate, because that's when the fashion for ruffs really takes off in England. Doubling down for a moment, a little scan through the work of Hans Holbein, which is relevant as the song is House of Holbein. He's got the occasional ruffled collar, which was certainly the precursor to the later ruff, but it was not a ruff. I do want to point out that this number is an absolute banger of a track, and I utterly loved it. But nevertheless, I do have one more pedant's corner moment, because there is a lyric in the song that goes, quote, "You bring the corsets, we'll bring the cinches." Now, should be stays or a pair of bodies. And as cinching conjures, perhaps unintentionally, images of tight lacing, these lines are period inappropriate. While these small aspects may have caught my ear and eye, they certainly didn't stop me enjoying the show. I was definitely dancing away in my seat. Each queen gets given her own number, and thus an opportunity to lay out the ways that being married to Henry was worse for her. The audience is therefore presented with each of these women giving their own account of their life and how they viewed their marriage. The first is given to Katherine of Aragon and is titled No Way. What I think we have here is a brilliant modern interpretation of the recorded speech that Henry's first queen gave at the Blackfriars trial of June 1529. To set the scene further, the light display on stage is set up to look like a series of stained glass windows, as if to reference the religious setting for that very trial. The creators have clearly done their research, and they have used that research to support their interpretation of Catherine's character. She is presented as resolute, unyielding, and utterly enraged by Henry's desire to replace her, which is an interpretation that I can get behind. The interpretation of some of the other queens doesn't match with my own. Let's have a look at the opening lyrics for Anne Boleyn's number, Don't Lose Your Head. Grew up in the French court, oui, oui, bonjour, life was a chore, so she set sail. Well, she was recalled because of growing Anglo-French tensions, and also to try to secure a marriage that would settle the contested Ormond inheritance. But yeah, maybe France was also hard work. 1522 came straight to the UK, all the British dudes lame, epic fail. Well, the UK isn't an entity, but regardless, and also British dudes lame, except of course for Henry Percy, heir to the Northumberland inheritance though. Right? Ooh, ooh, I want to dance and sing. Politics, not my thing. And that's the line. Look, I think it's really important that we reassess the narrative of Anne as a scheming Machiavel, but I'm not massively keen on making her into a vain airhead. The interpretation of Jane Seymour as having been truly in love with Henry, but also painfully aware that without her son, his love for her could disappear, certainly chimes with how many people view the claims that she was Henry's favourite wife. Because it's easy to be the tyrant's favourite when you provide that longed-for son and then almost immediately die. I believe it allowed the success of her son bearing to be his lasting memory of her. So his gratitude could also be lasting, because it was as if it were preserved in aspic. Now, whether she truly loved Henry or not is a matter of opinion. I absolutely loved the representation of Anne of Cleves' story in the number Get Down. I mean, just check out the first two verses. Sitting here all alone on a throne in a palace that I happen to own. Bring me some pheasant, keep it on the bone. Fill my goblet up to the brim, sipping on mead, and I spill it on my dress with the gold lace trim, not very prim and proper, can't make me stop. The absolute joy that she is allowed to display makes my heart sing. Is it historically accurate to how Anne of Cleves viewed her annulment? I don't know. No one can really know. But I can certainly hope that she found a way to celebrate something like this. Next up, we meet Katherine Howard, and as with some of the other figures in this show, the interpretation put forward of her in Six connects in many ways with my own understanding of her. I also think that her childhood was clearly neglectful, with a side of sexually predatory men around her, which would ultimately lay that groundwork of vulnerability that would eventually destroy her. The relationship with Thomas Culpeper is not presented as a love story, which is certainly how I see it too. Here are the relevant lyrics from the show for that. With Henry, it isn't easy. His temper's short and his mates are sleazy, except for this one courtier. He's a really nice guy, just so sincere. The royal life isn't what I planned, but Thomas is there to lend a helping hand. So sweet, make sure that I'm okay, and we hang out loads when the king's away. This guy, finally, is what I want, the friend I need, just mates, no chemistry. I get him and he gets me, and there's nothing more to it. He just cares so much, he's devoted. He says we have a connection. I thought this time was different. Why did I think he'd be different? But it's never, ever different. If you haven't seen the show, coming up next is a really big spoiler, so do click away if you don't want to hear that. Because Catherine Parr's contribution is to derail the competition that is the outward premise of the show. She plays along at the start. She details having to set her plans to marry Thomas Seymour aside when Henry's marital attentions fall upon her. And then she resigns from the contest. Her song is Don't Need Your Love, and the relevant resignation lyrics are as follows. So I sent that letter to my love. Got married to the king, became the one who survived. I've told you about my life, the final wife. But why should that story be the one I have to sing about? Just to win? I'm out. That's not my story. There's so much more. Remember that I was a writer. I wrote books and songs and meditations, fought for female education, so all my women could independently study scripture. I even got a woman to paint my picture. Why can't I tell that story? Because in history, I'm fixed as one of 6. And without him, I disappear. We all disappear. When I heard these verses in the theatre, I really had to control myself, to stop myself from just standing up and starting to cheer. Firstly, it felt rewarding and really appropriate, based especially on how I view her, that Catherine Parr should be the one to derail this competition, to ask her fellow queens and the audience to really think about why this needed to be the story that was being told. I mean, on the one hand, these queens are arguably so well known because they were all one of 6. Frequently reduced to the divorce beheaded died, divorce beheaded survived rhyme. They are known then because the course of their lives were affected and, in some sad cases, ended by King Henry VIII's presence within them. But on the other hand, why is Henry VIII so well known? Is it because, in large part, he's the king who had 6 wives? I mean, yeah, there's the Reformation, but would that have ever happened without the ladies? Without his relationships with both Katherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn? This is one of the many things that I adore about 6 the musical, and there are a lot. I really like the way that it asks the audience to reconsider the way they think about and engage with historical narratives about events and people. Suffice to say, I'd really like to go and see it again. But what do you think? Have you seen the show? Did you enjoy it? Are you planning on seeing it for the first time or maybe again? What do you think about the points that I've raised in this video? Do you agree with my views on the show? As always, I'm looking forward to reading your conversations in the comment section underneath this video, or you can find me on social media. I'll leave links to all the other places you can find me on the internet in my description box. Follow me over on some or all of them so we can continue this conversation and start some others. I do hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, why not share it with some friends? Please also let me know by hitting the thumbs up. And please subscribe to the channel, and if you think you're subscribed, have a little check now. Make sure that YouTube hasn't mysteriously unsubscribed you. While you're there, checking or subscribing, why not hit the bell icon beside the subscribe button so that YouTube tells you when I've next uploaded. I hope you're going to have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I look forward to speaking to you all in my next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.